Well, it was standing room only tonight at Green Bay City Hall as the debate over short-term rentals continues. Dozens of short-term rental owners, neighbors, and housing advocates filling the room discussing proposed changes to STR rules. And many of these rentals are located near Lambeau Field, and some residents say they're impacting housing in the community. The biggest proposal is a 180-day cap on how long a property can be rented each year, running from July 1st through June 30th. Rental days can be consecutive or cumulative. City staff said tracking cumulative days could be challenging. Short-term rental owners told the commission the limit could hurt small businesses and reduce income for cleaners, maintenance workers, and other local support staff.
180-day cap and the double fees will cause real harm. Hundreds of local owners pushed into financial hardships are forced to sell. Cleaners, handymen, lawn care crews, and snowplow drivers, real Green Bay families losing income.
Part of the proposed changes, a three-strike policy for rentals with repeated nuisance violations. Now, some residents speaking in support of the policy pointed to noise and parking problems. Others, including a resident near Lambeau Field, said short-term rentals are driving up housing costs, making it harder for longtime residents to stay in their homes.
As it's pricing us out by taxation, it has raised the value of our housing within this neighborhood, to where people who are on fixed income, such as myself, the property taxes that we have to pay are pricing us out of our own houses.
Owners also stress that many STRs already follow strict standards and want to work with the city rather than face new limits. Public comment at the commission started at around 7 p.m. and is still